This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some good news here. The Senate has passed a bill to prevent the U.S. from defaulting on its debt and raise the debt ceiling. I'll give you some more details on that. We are at a 52-year low when it comes to jobless claims last week. I'll give you the latest stimulus check articles like this. My family received a $500 stimulus check from this state and yours can too. Here's how. Also this one, new stimulus payments arrive next week. Some families will get $1,800. Here's why. I'll give you the latest of what's going on with the Build Back Better bill and play you a video clip from one Democrat representative getting grilled on Fox News trying to figure out whether the bill is paid for or not. You don't want to miss that one, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. Let's start with the good news here. So U.S. Senate passes and sends Biden bill paving way for debt limit hike. So the Senate actually passed it with Republican support for the U.S. not to default on its debt, but it's not completely there yet. Here's a video clip explaining more about that.
And the Senate has just taken the first step to avoid the nation's first ever default on its debt. They voted to advance a bill that would temporarily suspend the filibuster and allow a simple majority vote to raise the debt ceiling. I promise you, we're about to translate that into plain English for you. Democrats needed at least 10 Republicans to go along with this. They actually got 14. I want to bring in Sahil Kapoor, NBC News national political reporter who's on Capitol Hill. Jake Sherman, Punchbowl News founder, MSNBC political contributor, and friend of the show is with us as well. Sahil, so number one, explain what just happened in regular human terms, right? Number two, is this crisis averted? Is this it?
Hallie, this was the most significant hurdle to clear because this is the only part of the debt limit process that needed Republican cooperation. It needed 10 votes in the Senate. It got 14 Republican votes in the Senate. Now, the bill still needs final passage in this chamber. That's likely to happen sometime between now and tomorrow morning. After that, it goes to President Biden's desk. Once he signs it into law, it triggers this process, this fast-track process where the Senate can pass a debt limit increase with a dollar amount with a simple majority. There's no filibuster allowed, just this one time for just this one purpose. Then, of course, it goes to the House, and once they do that, it goes to President Biden's desk. They can do the whole thing within a day in the Senate, and that gives them enough time to meet that December 15th deadline and avert default. Now, Hallie, it's hard to overstate how absurd this whole process is because this is Congress creating a complicated, circuitous process to perform a simple task. Everyone agrees, almost everyone really, that the debt limit needed to be increased, but Republicans didn't want to put their fingerprints on it. They want to run against Democrats in the 2022 elections. So they created this mysterious process to minimize their fingerprints. Democrats, on the other hand, they're aware that Republicans are going to do this. One Democratic aide suggested that if the Republicans run against Democrats on that, then Democrats will just turn around and say that those Republicans who voted against this bill support Medicare cuts because those would be switched off in this bill. This is Congress at its most absurd, Hallie. And by the way, I should say, Democrats are planning at this moment, according to two sources I spoke to increase the debt limit by somewhere between 2 and 3 trillion. The idea being to get them through the midterm elections.
The U.S. has avoided 2 crises so far in the past week or so. First was the government shutdown. Next was the debt default, so that the government or the economy wouldn't completely spiral down. So 14 GOP senators helped advance McConnell debt limit deal. This was mainly run by Democrats, and 14 Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, has helped. If you don't remember, about 2 months ago when we had this other drama, this is when Chuck Schumer got help from the Republicans, and then you could see Joe Manchin in the background putting his hands in his head, because right after Chuck Schumer got help from Mitch McConnell and the Republicans to pass the first time for the debt ceiling to raise it just by a couple of months, Joe Manchin was really upset about that. So this is coming again, but this time Mitch McConnell actually helped again. No strings attached, at least not publicly. Who knows what happened behind closed doors and what deals may have been done there. But in general, what's going on with the country? I want to share this poll with you, and I want to get your opinion as well. So Americans lukewarm on COVID stimulus impact, says U.S. going in wrong direction. So if we look at this chart right here, this pretty much shows what happened with the polls. So 21%, or when it comes to Americans on COVID stimulus impact, 21% said it helped a lot, 32% said not helped at all, and 45% helped a little. Let me know down in the comments below, did the stimulus package, stimulus checks, did it help you out a little, not a lot, or helped a lot? Or not helped at all? Let me know down in the comments below. And 61% say that the country is heading in the wrong direction. 34% said we're heading in the right direction. With the way things are going, it's not looking too good. So we have investors brace for highest inflation reading in nearly 40 years is about to happen. So Wall Street expects the consumer price index on Friday today to reflect a 0.7% gain for November, which would translate into a 6.7 increase from a year ago. If that is accurate, it will mark the highest year-over-year level since 1982. Though markets expect a high reading, investors worry that the Fed might react aggressively to one that is even more above consensus. So we could have the highest inflation rate in now 40 years. Before that, I think it was 30 years, and now it could be 40 years. Some other good news here. Weekly jobless claims fall to 184,000. All right, let me start that over. Weekly jobless claims fall to 184,000, the lowest level in more than 52 years. So that's some good news there. Jobless claims total 184,000 the week of December 4th, the lowest going back to September 6th, 1969. Continuing claims, which run a week behind the headline number, increased 38,000 to just shy of 2 million. So I guess jobless claims, more people are either working or don't need unemployment insurance. You can see the numbers went down a lot in the past year. So that's some good news there. When it comes to stimulus check news, new stimulus payments arrive next week. Some families will get $1,800. Here's why. Let me save you some time. I'm not going to read line by line in this article. I'll just summarize it for you. So $1,800 comes from if you have any kids under the age of 6 and you got $300 per month. Times 6, that comes out to $1,800 cumulatively. Nobody's getting an $1,800 check unless you have 6 kids under the age of 6. Could be possible if you have any septuplets or sextuplets. Not sure what's the right term there. But anyways, I want to break that down for you. So there's no $1,800 check, at least for most people. Helping Hand, my family received a $500 stimulus check from this state, and yours can too. Here's how. So this is for the state of Maryland. So anyone who did not receive the $500 family stimulus check for Maryland or $300 individual stimulus checks, you can still claim it. There's still time to do so. It looks like 98% of the people got it, 2% they're still waiting on. And there's, I mentioned in the other video, there's a number to call right here. 1-800-638-2937 if you live in Maryland and you qualify and you want to claim that stimulus check. When it comes to fourth stimulus check, $2,000 per month to every American petition, currently at 2,978,000 signatures. Still no fourth general stimulus check. Seeing a lot of different states and city stimulus checks, but no general fourth stimulus check. When it comes to the Build Back Better bill, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calls paid leave one of the most important planks in the Build Back Better. That's what he recently said. Not so much about timeline, but just that piece of information, which I'm sure we've heard many times before. Here is a video clip of Representative Ro Khanna talking with Fox News host Maria about whether or not the bill is paid for. Is it paid for? Is it not paid for? Take a look at this and let me know what you think about it.
Was California Congressman Ro Khanna. He is a member of the Armed Services, Oversight, and Agricultural Committees, and he joins us right now. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Maria, good morning. Always a pleasure.
What do you make of this worry from Americans about inflation? You know, you would think that that is something of a wake-up call for you and your colleagues as you still try to get this spending plan through. Won't more spending stoke more inflation?
Well, of course it's a worry. Grocery prices are up. Gas prices are up. When I shop in my district, I see that. But what our bill will do is put more money in the pockets of working families and the middle class so that they have more money and can afford groceries, can afford gas, and it's going to lower the cost of prescription drugs, lower the cost of childcare, lower the cost of elder care. So I think it will help.
How would it possibly help if it's more money chasing too few goods, Congressman? We know this. And not only that, but many people are expecting that they will also pay higher taxes. So you're saying that this bill is lowering the cost for people, and yet many of your colleagues, certainly on the right, say that you've already breached the promise of not having anybody making $400,000 pay higher taxes. They will pay higher taxes.
Marie, the tax increases are on people over $10 million, but you know the economics. I mean, the way inflation happens is if you have something that's unpaid for, because then the Fed increases the money supply. Here, this is fully paid for, so you're not going to have the Fed increasing bond purchases. In fact, I agree with Larry Summers. The real issue is the Fed with the quantitative easing, where they're still backing mortgages. I mean, they need to reverse that. I hope that the Fed will take the appropriate actions.
Well, you say that it's fully paid for, and Joe Biden says it costs nothing, but that's not what we're hearing from the CBO and not what we're hearing from the Committee for a Responsible Budget. They say that there are plenty of gimmicks in this plan. In fact, Maya McGinnis was on this program just a week ago, and she said the cost of this plan is actually $4.9 trillion because of the gimmicks that you and your colleagues have put in, saying, oh, the child credit goes away in 1 year. I mean, do you honestly think the child credit goes away in 1 year?
Well, it depends on the Republicans. Right now, the Republicans aren't for giving families $300 a month for people who are raising kids. If they were, then we could extend it further. But the CBO looked at this, and they basically concluded it's paid for. There's slight disagreement on how much revenue the tax compliance would raise. Larry Summers thinks it would raise far more than what CBO does, but it's basically paid for. And even economists like Summers, who have said that there is often inflation, have said BBB won't cause inflation because it's largely paid for. Most economists have said that. The issue is with the Fed.
No, most economists haven't said that it's paid for, Congressman. Let me ask you a question. Why put in a federal program if you're going to take it away in 1 year or 2 years?
I don't want to. I would love to have a 10-year plan.
You want it for the 10 years, right? That's why it's $4.9 trillion. Because that's exactly right.
But there's
Anybody
no
who puts these programs in do not want them to go away in 1 year.
I do not, but we don't have the support for that. If we had the support for that, I would support it, and then the cost would be higher. But we don't have the support for that. So that's like saying I would like more spending for renewable energy. We don't have the votes for that. Doesn't mean that you fictitiously make up a number saying, well, if Kana got his renewable energy, that's what it would cost. What the Center of Budget is doing is saying, well, hypothetically, if there were the votes for these things, this is what it would cost. The votes aren't there. This is a 1 year extension. It should be cost based on what's actually in the bill.
It sounds like that's exactly what your colleagues did. They came up fictitiously and said that this plan costs $1.75 trillion by saying that these programs go away in a year or two, and they don't. Nobody wants them to go away in 1 year, and they won't. So in other words, the plan is actually costing $5.9 trillion, $4.9 trillion.
But the Republicans, here's the question, Maria. Why isn't there a single Republican who talks about family values, who says how important it is for parents to have the opportunity to raise their kids? Why isn't a single Republican saying, yeah, I think it's a good idea to give working class families $300 a month?
No, I think what the Republicans keep saying is they don't want a welfare state. They don't want government programs where families are so dependent on the government. They want them to work and make ends meet by their own efforts and not rely on money from the government with these federal programs that won't go away, that taxpayers will pay for. I mean, do you feel that this really is something that the American people want?
What I see is a lot of hardworking Americans, people who are driving trucks or working hard at restaurants, and they're having a tough time paying the bills and raising their kids. And what we're saying is, if you're a family who is raising kids in this country, that's the biggest job, and we ought to get $300 a month per kid. It's a policy that's pro-family, and I wish it had bipartisan support. And yes, I'm for 10 years if we can get it. The problem is we don't have the Republican support. And if Republicans were coming and support it, I'd say, yeah, it would cost more.
Right. Because we have $28 trillion in debt, and to just put out a program that gives people hundreds of dollars repeatedly is just creating a welfare state and adding to the debt. Why are we doing that? We're seeing an economy that is growing. You know, you've got inflation as well. So why put more spending out there? But look, Congressman, I don't want to keep going through this because obviously the Republicans say one thing and you're saying something else.
So what is the consensus here? Is the Build Back Better bill paid for, or is it not paid for? We keep hearing the Democrats say that it's completely paid for. Meanwhile, Republicans and the CBO score say it is not paid for. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Regardless of whether it's paid for or not, as of December 8th, Senator Joe Manchin won't pledge to support Biden's social spending bill. Regardless of whether it's paid for or not, Doesn't matter, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, they are still holding out. So I don't know what type of magic trick Chuck Schumer is going to pull to try to get them on board. We haven't heard any support from those two moderate Democrats. So we'll see what happens there. And that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I'm going to tell something what you should do. Don't let anybody tell you different. You are beautiful. You are full with excitement. You are great the way you are. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You are great the way you are. You are full with excitement, and you are great just the way you are within person. Bye. That's all I wanted to say for you. And be yourself. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your support. I hope you have an amazing weekend. You do something fun. Not sure what we're going to do. We're just going to hang out, listen to Christmas music. We've been doing that. And yeah, just kind of enjoy some family time. Hopefully you have a great weekend as well. If you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here or down here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Be safe. Thank you for watching.